You did not stumble upon this video by chance. This is not the randomness of an algorithm, nor the mind's accidental play. This is a transmission, a message sent to you at the exact moment you were ready to hear it. And the very first sign that you are ready is a dream that refuses to leave you. There are dreams that blur and vanish the moment we open our eyes. But there are also dreams that etch themselves so deeply that you wake up in confusion, and for the entire day, they continue to haunt your mind. You may see that scene again while sitting in your office. You may hear that sound again while walking down the street. It clings to you, not letting you escape. And you ask yourself, why? What few people realize is this: those dreams do not come to torment you. They come to awaken you. Because not all dreams are meaningless. A rare few of them are milestones, markers of a profound shift in life. The moment when your consciousness crosses the old threshold and steps into a new frequency. Think back. Have you ever experienced a dream that made you know with certainty that, upon waking, you were no longer the same person? The feeling is hard to name, but you know everything has changed. That is not the brain's trick. That is a quantum shift, a movement within you, where you step into a new timeline. Quantum physics calls this moment the collapse of the wave function, when infinite possibilities coexist, and suddenly, one becomes reality. The dream is that collapse. It is like a message from another version of you, one who has gone further, who has seen something you have not yet seen. And the only way that message can reach you is through a dream, because in sleep, the shells of logic, defense, and rationality are removed. For thousands of years, cultures have known that dreams are not mere illusions. Tibetans regard dreams as the path of dream yoga, a gateway into other realms. The ancient Greeks built the temple of Asclepius so that people could sleep and receive dreams as healing messages from the gods. South American traditions call dreams the dreamscape, a real land where the soul travels. And today, quantum science is beginning to confirm time is not linear. Consciousness is not imprisoned in a single reality. In dreams, we can slip into different layers of existence. So if a dream still lives in you, haunts you, makes you remember again and again, then it is no longer just a dream. It is a milestone, a door the quantum field has opened before you. And the question now is not, why does it haunt me? But rather, do I have the courage to step through that door? You are not here by accident. This video has come to you as a knock, as an invitation from the universe itself. For if you have ever dreamed that dream, you have already touched the transmission. And what you are about to hear now may change the way you see yourself, reality, and the life you are living. Have you ever woken up in panic, your heart pounding because of a dream you had for the third, fourth, or even the 10th time? A dream that refuses to leave you, returning like an uninvited guest, leaving its haunting trace in every waking moment. You try to forget it. You dismiss it as mental noise. But it keeps coming back, patient, persistent, as if knocking from another world. And in the very moment you realize, this is no longer a random dream. This is a transmission. There was once a woman who shared her story. For months on end, she dreamed the same scene again and again. The familiar road she took every morning to work, a steep curve, and a car losing control and rushing toward her. Each time she woke up, she sank into fear, unable to shake it off. The haunting was so strong that she changed her daily route. Weeks later, at that very curve, a terrible accident occurred. And in a shiver of fear mixed with gratitude, she understood. The dream did not return to torment her. It returned to save her life. That is the nature of haunting dreams. They are not like fragmented, chaotic dreams that fade quickly with the dawn. They are sharp as memory. They follow you, force you to think, force you to face what you normally avoid. A haunting dream is a call, and that call cannot be ignored. In the language of quantum mechanics, such dreams resemble the state of superposition, when countless possibilities coexist. Each time the dream returns, it is like a probability moving closer to collapse, to the moment when possibility becomes reality. The repetition is the emphasis. Reality is whispering to you, pay attention. This is not an illusion. This is a map. And when you are awake enough to observe, that possibility collapses into a reality you must confront. What makes these dreams terrifying is not their gruesome details, but their vitality. They gnaw at you so deeply that you carry them the entire day, your mind caught in a loop you cannot escape. But that very haunting is the key, because if a dream still lives within you after you wake, it no longer belongs to the realm of imagination. It has become a marker, a milestone carved into your timeline. And from that moment, you are no longer the same person. You may ask, why me? Why did this haunting dream choose me and not someone else? The answer lies not in chance, but in the vibration of your frequency. When a mind reaches a certain sensitivity, when intuition has been sharpened through crisis, when you are standing at the threshold of a turning point, the quantum field begins to send signals. It does not send them to everyone. It only sends them to those who are ready. And when you receive a haunting dream, you have been chosen. Remember, haunting is not punishment. It is entanglement, the entwinement between you and another version of yourself in a parallel timeline. Each time the dream returns, it is a resonance, an echo from another life, signaling that your reality is sliding closer toward a destined change. The more the dream repeats, the thinner the boundary between the two timelines becomes. And at some point, you will have to choose. People often fear haunting dreams, but perhaps you already sense it. They do not come to destroy, but to guide. They do not come to break you, but to prepare you for the moment you step through a quantum doorway. For there are dreams you cannot ignore. They are thresholds. And haunting is simply the universe's way of making sure you do not miss them. So, if you are carrying a dream that repeats again and again, do not simply try to forget it. Listen, write it down. Observe every detail, every symbol, every fragment it delivers. Because perhaps that is the very dream marking your quantum shift, the moment you are being called to step into a new life. Will you dare to step through the door that the dream is opening for you? In special dreams, dreams that mark turning points, images never appear by chance. They arrive as signs, as codes of the universe sent into your subconscious. If the dream itself is a transmission, then the symbols are the language that transmission chooses to speak to your soul. And it is precisely these symbols that leave you waking up in a different state, confused, yet certain that something is changing forever. The door is one of the oldest and most universal symbols in shift dreams. You may dream of standing before a massive glowing door, or simply a plain wooden one at the end of a dark hallway. Yet the feeling is always the same. Your heart racing, your soul feeling called. The door is the clear metaphor for stepping into a new vibrational layer. Each time you choose to open it or refuse to open it, you are making a fateful decision. To remain in the old or to step into the unknown. Death and rebirth also frequently appear. You may dream of your own death. You may see a loved one depart from this world and then somehow return to life. Many people wake from such dreams in panic, believing them to be bad omens. But in the language of quantum and spiritual understanding, death in dreams is not an ending. It is the dissolution of the old self. It mirrors the process of collapse of the wave function, when an old state collapses to allow a new version of you to emerge. Rebirth in a dream is the signal that you are ready to step into a new form, to live within a new vibration. Bridges, corridors, light. These are other symbols you may have encountered. A suspension bridge shrouded in mist. An endless corridor. You keep walking, but never reach the end. A dazzling light so bright you cannot look directly, yet your heart is irresistibly drawn toward it. These images all carry the same message. You are in transition, moving through the liminal space between the old timeline and the new. They are passage symbols, markers of crossing, where your consciousness is stepping through an unfamiliar threshold. Some people have told of dreams of strange cities, streets they have never walked in waking life, yet feel uncannily familiar. Others dream of a house, each room so vividly detailed, even with the smell of wood, the sound of wind rushing through windows, and the deep sense that they had once lived there long ago. These symbols are not mere backdrops. They are metaphorical doors, maps that allow you to glimpse another timeline where another version of you is living another life. And when you wake with the feeling, that place is more real than anywhere I've known. That is the moment the quantum shift has etched itself into your consciousness. What sets these symbols apart from ordinary dreams is their weight. A fragmented dream fades quickly, leaving behind only meaningless scraps. But the symbols of shift dreams persist. They carve themselves into awareness. The more you try to forget, the more deeply they imprint. They follow you into waking life, haunting you through details. The sound of wind, a color, someone's gaze. This is not illusion. This is evidence that you have just passed through a transmission. In ancient cultures, such symbols were always revered. The ancient Greeks saw dreams in the temples of Asclepius as sacred spaces, where patients dreamt of light, doors, or gods delivering healing remedies. Tibetans spoke of dream yoga, where practitioners crossed bridges of light to approach the bardo, the boundary between death and rebirth. South American shamans described dreams as the dreamscape, a real realm where the soul passed through corridors into the space of ancestors. Look across these different cultures and you will see symbols are always the keys to transformation. So, if you have ever dreamt of a door, of death, of a bridge, a corridor, or a strange city, listen. Do not dismiss them as random details. This is the language of the quantum field, encoded in images sent to awaken you. Because in dreams, your mind is no longer bound by logic, but becomes a mirror reflecting a higher truth. And in that very moment, you realize, this dream is not here to frighten you. It has come to show you that the change has already begun. Not everyone experiences shift dreams. They are not common occurrences, nor are they random tricks of the brain during sleep. There is a reason why some are chosen, while others drift only in fragmented pieces of ordinary dreams. If you are hearing these words, if you have ever awakened with your heart pounding from a dream that shook the foundations of your life, then you are among the few marked by the quantum field. Think of it this way. In the vast flow of collective consciousness, each of us is like an antenna receiving signals. But not all antennas pick up the same frequency. Some are only strong enough to capture faint signals, random stories recreated by the brain from memory and emotion. But there are rare antennas, sharper, more sensitive. And when they tune in, the signal is no longer vague. It is clear, radiant, leaving an echo that lingers for days, even months. You are that kind of antenna. You are more sensitive, more intuitive, And that is precisely why the quantum field has chosen you as the receiver of a transmission. Shift dreams often arrive when you are standing at the threshold of change, when an old chapter is closing and a new one is about to open. Perhaps you are in the middle of a crisis, a relationship fracturing, a career at a dead end, or a deep loss. Perhaps you feel lost, as though the world around you no longer fits. It is in these moments, when the old self trembles, that the quantum field finds an opening to send you a message. It does not choose those who have locked their inner doors. It chooses you, the one sensitive enough to feel it, brave enough to hear it, and ready enough to cross. Ancient traditions have always known this. Tibetans say that only practitioners who have cultivated themselves to a certain level can enter dream yoga and reach liberating dreams. The ancient Greeks believed that only those truly in need of healing dreamt of the god Asclepius in the temple. South Americans believed that only those deeply bonded with ancestral spirits could enter the dreamscape to receive messages. And in Chinese philosophy, Zhuangzi once asked, "Am I dreaming I am a butterfly, or is the butterfly dreaming it is me?" A paradox that only souls sufficiently open can perceive the depth of. Do you see? Across East and West, across time and culture, the message is the same. Not everyone is led into dreams of transformation. From a quantum perspective, this makes perfect sense. The quantum field does not operate through blind randomness. It operates through resonance. When your frequency is close enough to a new state, you begin to receive signals from that state, like two strings vibrating at the same note. A shift dream reaches you when you are nearly in tune with the vibration of another timeline. If you are chosen, it is not because of luck. It is because you broadcasted the right frequency. You sent out a call, even unconsciously, and the quantum field simply answered. This means, if you have ever experienced a shift dream, know that you are not ordinary. You are not lost among billions. You have reached a point that only a small fraction of humanity can feel. You are being invited into a new chapter where the old dissolves and the new begins to take form. So, do not dismiss that dream. Do not brush it aside as a random byproduct of the mind. It has not come to frighten you. It has not come to haunt you without reason. It has come to prove that you are ready. You have been chosen. And when the quantum field chooses you, it never makes a mistake. Have you ever woken up with the feeling that the dream you just had was not merely a fleeting illusion of the night, but rather a deliberate message, a stream of signals sent from somewhere beyond your comprehension? That is the doorway leading you to an unbelievable yet undeniable truth. Dreams are not simply unconscious activities of the brain, but a quantum communication system where the future, present, and past converge to send messages to you. When you sleep, your consciousness is no longer bound by the linear flow of time. It expands, dissolves, merging into a vast field of information, what physicists call the quantum field. There, all possibilities coexist in a state of superposition, and dreams are the medium that allows you to connect with those possibilities. Think of it this way. In daily life, you live inside a single script of reality, as though watching a film projected straight from beginning to end. But in dreams, you step out of the theater into a room filled with thousands of parallel reels of film. You might glimpse a scene from another life, hear dialogue from another version of yourself, or even step into a sequence that has not yet taken place in the present. This is not empty imagination. This is quantum communication, when your consciousness temporarily slips beyond linear limits to receive signals from another timeline. In quantum physics, there is the concept of retrocausality, reverse causality, It suggests that the future can send signals back to the present, just as a photon can influence the outcome of an experiment even before the choice is made. If that is possible at the subatomic level, why could it not also occur at the level of consciousness? A recurring dream, a vivid scene, an obsessive symbol may very well be information from the future, leaking into the present, guiding you toward the right path. When you remember it, when it lingers in your mind, that is proof the channel has been established. Similarly, the principle of non-locality in quantum mechanics shows that two particles once connected can still affect each other instantaneously, even when separated by billions of light years. Consciousness operates in much the same way. A future version of you in another timeline can send vibrations to you right now. And the dream becomes the bridge, unrestricted by space or time. That is why so many people say they have met their future self in dreams, and upon waking, they carry with them a strange sense, as though infused with a new trust, a new direction. When you dream of such things, it may be that you have entered the overlap between the old timeline and the new. This is not random. It is the moment of interference, where two rivers of reality flow into one another, and you stand in the vortex, receiving the signal that only you can receive. Some people will forget upon waking, but a few, people like you, will carry the memory in their hearts as an indelible imprint. Remember, dreams are not just passing images. They are transmissions, streams of quantum information that transcend all boundaries, seeking to touch you, stir you, awaken you. When you realize this, you no longer see dreams as random events. You begin to listen to them as telegrams from the universe. And with every act of listening, you move closer to the timeline where your highest self is waiting. There are moments in dreams that go far beyond the boundary of imagination, leaving us with the sense that what we experienced was not just a dream, but an actual event that took place somewhere in this universe. Stories of shift dreams, dreams that mark turning points, have been told across history, like shimmering fragments of evidence that a greater force is guiding humanity closer to its true essence. One man once recounted how he dreamt of being pulled into a horrific accident. In the dream, he saw every detail clearly. The road, the car headlights, the sound of the collision. The dream repeated itself so many times that he could no longer ignore it. One morning, just as he was about to depart, the familiar fear from his dream surged through him. He changed his route. Strangely enough, at the very section of road he had seen in the dream, a serious accident occurred at that exact moment. He escaped death. For him, the dream was no longer the subconscious playing tricks. It was a warning, a memory sent from another timeline, one in which he had not survived, allowing him to choose a different ending. There are also stories of rebirth. A woman shared how, for years, she was trapped in a stagnant life, unable to find a way out. One night, she dreamt of her own death, dissolving into thousands of shards of light, only to be reborn into a new body. When she awoke, she was still trembling from the vividness of that death. But instead of fear, she felt liberated. The very next morning, she quit her old job, ended a toxic relationship, and began a new chapter. For her, the dream was not just a dream. It was a rebirth ritual orchestrated by the quantum field, helping her collapse the old identity and step into a new version of herself. Similar stories have been recorded in ancient cultures. The Greeks believed that dreams could be messages from the gods, especially in the temple of Asclepius, where patients slept to meet the healing deity in their dreams. For them, a dream was not a product of the brain, but a sacred encounter with another layer of reality. In Tibet, there are accounts of dream yoga, where practitioners learn to enter dreams to experience death and rebirth as a pathway to ultimate truth. In South America, shamans told of dreams where people were guided to meet the spirits of their ancestors. And upon waking, they changed their lifestyle, their path, as though they had received instructions from another realm. In modern times, many people also share stories of parallel dreams where they find themselves living another life with a family, a career, and memories that do not belong to their present. Some say that upon waking, they felt as though they had just lost a real life. Then a sudden decision was made. Changing careers, moving homes, ending a relationship. No one can prove that the dream was the cause, but they themselves knew. It was the dream that opened a new track for their life's timeline. What is astonishing is that all these stories carry the same message. Dreams can be memories. Not memories of the past, but of another version of you, a parallel timeline in which you have already gone through that crisis, already died, already been reborn, already made a different choice. And the quantum field, in its infinite vastness, has sent that memory back to you through the dream, as a reminder that you have more paths available than you realize. As you hear these stories, perhaps a part of you stirs with your own memory. A dream too real, too vivid, too haunting to dismiss. It feels like a mirror from somewhere else, reflecting back an image of yourself you have never met, yet feels deeply familiar. And perhaps you begin to wonder, could it be that I too have already received such a transmission? Could it be that the dream was not fantasy at all, but a message from another version of me? There are dreams that come to us like a storm, erasing everything we once thought we were. They don't simply tell a story. They pull us into an experience that shakes the very roots of the old self. People call them shift dreams, but at a deeper level, they are dreams that dissolve identity, forcing us to face the truth that the familiar image of ourselves is only a temporary shell. Imagine this. You dream of your own death, not a vague death, but a vivid dissolution down to every detail. You feel your body disappear, dissolving into light, then being reborn into a different form. You wake up gasping, your heart racing, but at the same time, a new awareness arises. I am no longer the old me. In that moment, the dream has accomplished what waking life often takes decades to achieve, severing the ties to the old self. In quantum physics, this phenomenon resembles the collapse of the wave function. Before observation, a particle exists in superposition, being everything and nothing at once. When observed, it chooses one single form to become reality. Your identity operates in the same way. In the dream, the old self is observed and collapses. You awaken to realize you have collapsed into a new state, a version of yourself you had never known. This is not a trick of the mind. It is the quantum mechanism at work within consciousness. The old self clings tightly, whispering, "This is who you are. These are your limits." But shift dreams arrive to expose that lie. They show you that the self is not essence, only a stream of data programmed by memory, experience, and belief. When the dream makes you witness dissolution, it is not punishment, it is initiation. The old identity dies to make space for a self that is greater, freer, and truer. One man once told of dreaming that he was staring into a mirror, but the reflection was not his familiar face. It was dozens, even hundreds of faces, all of them him, yet each from different lives. When he awoke, he no longer clung to the notion, "I am one singular individual." He began living more openly, more confidently, knowing that each decision was simply a choice among countless possibilities coexisting in the field. In ancient traditions, such dreams of ego dissolution have long been known. Tibetan Buddhism calls it the practice of dying before death, a spiritual exercise of releasing the body, releasing identity before leaving physical life. Western mystics call it the dark night of the soul, the long night in which the old self is broken so that new light can enter. Across all cultures, the message has remained clear. No true transformation can occur unless the old self first dissolves. What makes these dreams so haunting is the absolute realism of them. You wake trembling, as though death has just happened for real. You walk into the new day with eyes that see differently, as if part of you has been replaced with another memory, another being. And that is precisely the moment the quantum shift occurs, when you stop identifying with the old story and begin stepping into the new one. If you have ever had such a dream, ask yourself, what part of me has died? And what part has just been born? This is not loss, it is cleansing. It is the dissolving of false layers so that the true essence can be revealed. Each such dream is a quantum ritual, where you collapse out of the old timeline and choose, for yourself, a new mode of being. There are dreams that are not merely scattered images of the mind, but doorways opening to show you a greater truth. You are not a single linear being, but a network of countless versions of yourself that coexist simultaneously. When you awaken from such a dream, the lingering feeling is not, I just dreamed, but I just lived another life. And that is the essence of a quantum shift, the moment you glimpse the multidimensional nature of who you truly are. In a shift dream, you might see yourself living in a strange city, unfamiliar yet heartbreakingly familiar. You may see a different family, a different job, memories that don't belong to your current timeline, but are as vivid as real. Upon waking, the mind tries to explain it away as imagination, but the heart knows. You have just touched a fragment of memory from another version of yourself, and that unsettles you because it reveals that you are not confined to a single story. In the language of quantum theory, this is resonance with the many worlds interpretation, the hypothesis that every choice, every possibility, generates a parallel universe. You may not perceive it consciously while awake, but in dreams, the rigid walls of time and space dissolve. Your consciousness loosens, slipping through the cracks, stepping into another timeline. Dreams become the ticket that lets you slide across boundaries once thought impenetrable. People often say dreams are just random activity of the brain. But why then do these dreams feel so sharp, so real? Why can you recall every detail, sound, and color as though they were true memories? Because they are memories, not from this life, but from another life you are also living in a parallel timeline. The quantum field allows all your versions to coexist, and in dreams, those versions intersect, leaving their imprint upon your present awareness. One man once recounted that he frequently dreamed of living in a seaside city. In the dream, he knew the streets, the shops, even the familiar faces of friends he had never met in waking life. Years later, he traveled to a distant region of South America and was stunned to discover a city that looked exactly like the one in his dreams. What startled him even more was the profound sense of belonging, as if he had indeed lived there in another lifetime. Such experiences can no longer be dismissed as coincidence. They are intersections of timelines, proof that consciousness can move through multiple layers of reality. Ancient spiritual traditions have spoken of this for thousands of years. In Hindu mythology, there is the concept of Lila, the universe as a divine play, where each soul lives countless roles at once. In Chinese philosophy, Zhuangzi once asked, Am I dreaming I am a butterfly? Or is the butterfly dreaming it is me? Not merely a riddle, but a reminder that identity is never fixed. And in South American shamanic rituals, dreams are seen as bridges to other worlds, where one can step in and commune with parallel versions of their own soul. A quantum shift is not only about change in a specific event. It is the moment you realize your own multidimensionality. When you see yourself in a dream living another life, that is not illusion. That is a transmission from the quantum field, where all your versions are simultaneously breathing, living, and experiencing. Your current self is only a small fragment of an infinite network, and dreams are the doorway through which you remember this truth. Once you have tasted this awareness, you can never look at yourself the same way again. You begin to understand that fear, limitation, and bondage are only temporary. You can choose another version of yourself, stronger, wiser, freer, and step into it. The shift dream is the reminder that you have more than one chance to live, more than one destiny to follow. You are not just one story. You are the symphony of countless stories. And each dream is a note resonating from another timeline, inviting you to expand your vision and to live with the awareness that you are a multidimensional being. If you have ever woken from a dream that made you know your life would no longer be the same, then that is not an ordinary dream. It is a transmission from the quantum field, a clear sign that the quantum shift in your life has begun. It is not coincidence. It is not an illusion. It is a milestone, a calling you have been chosen to receive. Such dreams do not come to leave you bewildered. They come to remind you that you are not merely a solitary individual drifting through the universe. You are the interference of countless timelines, the heartbeat of a reality that is regenerating itself through you. And each time you dream such a dream, it is proof that you have already set one foot outside the old ego and touched your multidimensional self. Listen to this carefully. You are not here by accident, not hearing these words by accident. The entire path has led you to this moment, to realize that your dream is not haunting you. It is guiding you. It is the bridge, the doorway, the knock from your own future self, from a version that has gone ahead and wants you to catch up. You may have tried to forget that dream. You may have thought it was only a jumbled fragment of the mind. But if it is still here, in your memory, in your heart, then it is no longer just a dream. It is a memory sent back from another timeline, a quantum code reminding you that another life is waiting for you to step into it. And now, the choice lies in your hands. Will you continue to ignore it, letting that dream repeat like an endless spiral? Or will you courageously treat it as a call to transformation and truly step through the threshold it is opening? If you have listened this far, it means the transmission has reached you. It means you are ready. Treat this not merely as a message, but as a ritual. I invite you to speak aloud, write down, or leave in the comments a single line. I crossed the dream gate. Do not treat it as a game. Regard it as a vow to your future self, a clear signal sent to the quantum field that you are ready to enter a new timeline. And now, ask yourself, have you ever had such a dream? A dream that made you know, unmistakably, that you were no longer the old you, that everything would change from this point on? If so, share it, because perhaps you are not the only one who has been chosen. This is the final transmission. It has been sent to you not to frighten you, but to place in your hands the memory of a future not yet arrived. Listen, receive, and when you are ready, step through the door that opened in the dream.